Pokemon has long been rumored to be coming to Universal Studios in Orlando, but could that be changing? Hello everybody, welcome. One Piece has been strongly rumored to be in contention to replace the lost continent at Islands of Adventure. But now we are hearing rumors that Pokemon might actually be going there instead. Permits filed with the City of Orlando on September 10th of 2025, just a few weeks ago, detailed out a 5-acre plot of land that's going to be going under construction at Islands of Adventure and is being primed to be completely demolished. Universal recently confirmed that this is in fact going to be for the Lost Continent area of Islands of Adventure. Director of Public Relations Kristen Smith came out on record and said that the construction that's going to be happening is in fact going to be for Lost Continent. They are essentially clearing the way for something to be coming in the future. Based on the permits, it appears that this was to demolish a portion of the Lost Continent, not the land in its entirety. As I said, it was about a 5-acre, about 4.9 acres worth of land, which is currently speculated to be this portion of the park, leaving room for the walkway and some of the restaurants like Mythos and the Fire Eater's Grill to stay intact so people can continue to transfer through that area on the way between Seuss Island and over to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and or Velocicoaster. Which makes a lot of sense because of how the park is laid out. If you demolish that particular area and left no walkway, then you'd be faced with walking completely all the way around the park to get to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter instead of being able to go the shorter path. So it is presumed that primarily the Sinbad building, the Poseidon's Fury building, and some of the restaurants and shops there on that side of the walkway will be what is part of this construction zone. Obviously, Lost Continent has sat empty for years now. Sinbad closed on September 16th of 2018, and Poseidon's Fury closed on May 9th of 2023. And I said this on a previous video, in order to include all of the areas, including Mythos, that's about another 2.5 acres that they would have to include if they were planning on replacing the entire area all at once. But it just doesn't make sense to do that. Obviously, it makes sense to stage it in some way. So we were hypothesizing that if they were going to keep some of it intact and keep some of the theming, then we very likely would see some sort of property or IP make its way into that land that is going to be of a similar visual aesthetic. However, they could also potentially break this into 2 phases and replace the one side first, create a new walkway or some sort of pathing through there, and then work on the other side of it to completely transform the look and feel of that as well, which would throw the theory that there's any sort of continuity needed out the window, and you can replace that land with anything you want. However, this permit that we've been looking at for Project 555, that was recently closed. The application was closed, and the new application, a new permit was filed instead. And the new permit, interestingly enough, doesn't have any details about it at all. No size, no acreage, no plans, no knowledge whatsoever about what will be replaced, although it does still relate to the particular buildings and areas that we thought it was before. And interestingly, this has a finish date on it of 3/25/2026. So sometime in March of 2026, this would be slated to be complete, which really isn't that far away. That's only about 6 months from now. So that would require an awful lot of stuff to get done in a small 6-month period of time. I have a hard time believing that they could completely demolish that area and then build something back up, a new completely themed area, and then open it in 6 months. So more than likely, this permit is specifically to demolish the area, flatten it, and get it prepared for new permits of construction that would be coming next. And though One Piece had been rumored and some really cool speculation about a cool boat that they could put there in front of Mythos on the actual lagoon, draw your eye there, some really cool things that could go in that space, I'm now hearing rumors that Pokemon might in fact be going here instead. And it is no secret that Pokemon would be a massive, massive draw for Universal. It is massively popular at all ages. Even if you aren't that into Pokemon, you've probably played Pokemon Go at some point, you're probably part of that craze, and you definitely know the name Pokemon. In fact, Pokemon is estimated to be the world's highest grossing media franchise of all time. And it is certainly one of the best selling video game franchises of all time. Now, so far, all we've had with our licensing agreements with Japan for Pokemon and Universal. No licensing agreement for anything in the United States so far. In 2021, they embarked on a partnership with Pokemon Universal that was for a long-term partnership for them to bring various things like merchandise, attractions, food, etc., parades into their parks in Japan. So far, they've used it for a Halloween party, a No Limits parade, various merchandise, Pokemon-styled foods, and various meet and greets. But so far, nothing has come to fruition when it comes to any large marquee attractions, no top-tier rides. Now, there has been rumor that there would be some sort of Pokemon coming to the Super Nintendo World area of Universal Japan, potentially replacing a Spider-Man attraction in Japan, but it's all just been rumor, speculation. And as I said, the license does not currently extend into the US. However, we do know they have been potentially in talks to do something in the United States, and Pokemon has been rumored to replace the Simpsons area over at Universal Studios. We've talked about this in the past. I did videos. We talked about what could be happening and where. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll link to them below. We know that Universal's licensing agreement with The Simpsons is currently slated to end 2028. This is a 20-year deal that they had with Simpsons, which was then purchased by Disney as part of the Fox acquisition. And so we knew that Simpsons' time at Universal was coming to an end very soon. And the rumor had been that Pokemon would be what was going to replace the Simpsons area in that park. Made a lot of sense. You could easily see the Simpsons area being replaced with some sort of Pokemon-themed world, potentially even expanding into the new DreamWorks area that they created, which people had hypothesized was a temporary zone, the way that they kind of sprung it up really quickly, that maybe in a few years they could replace that even, and maybe create an even larger, expansive Pokemon area, including that. However, we also heard rumor that they might be looking to extend The Simpsons into 2031, and so I talked about how the Pokemon Land at Universal Studios might actually be canceled. I did a whole video where I talked about if this 2031 licensing agreement extension is real and it happens with Simpsons, then Pokemon might be dead when it comes to replacing the Simpsons area, because 2031 is a long time from now, and I think they're going to want to try and get Pokemon in an area of Universal sooner rather than later. And I have to say, I would be in favor of it not replacing the Simpsons area. I've talked about this in the past. I don't think bringing a Pokemon area into the Simpsons area makes a lot of sense. I feel like Universal Studios Park itself has sort of lost its way. I don't like the direction it's been going with these like mini lands and things. We already have islands of adventure where it's these whole immersive themed lands. We have Epic Universe, these whole immersive themed lands behind these portals. We don't need a third park that's just a bunch of immersive themed lands. What I'd love to see come back is the ride the movies concept. Like, get back to the ride the movies and bring some of these like attractions in and classic movies back to the forefront, or even new movies, and create these really unique experiences like the Twister experience that we used to have, and the old King Kong attraction where you felt like you were on that gondola and King Kong was wrecking you and you felt like you were in the movie. Bring those sorts of things back instead of the weird things that they've been adding to it recently, which just makes it feel like the other two parks. Like, keep it different, differentiated, do something different with it. So I would really be in favor of this change of not bringing Pokemon to replace Simpsons, and instead bringing Pokemon to replace something else as an immersive land. Could be Toon Lagoon, could be Lost Continent, which is the rumor that we're hearing now. And as I said, if they do break up the construction into multiple phases, they wouldn't need to keep the same level of, theming. They could change things quite dramatically. I guess there could be theoretically a place for some of the theming that exists there today to fit into the Pokemon universe and lore. But either way, I feel like it is possible Pokemon could happen. But again, it's all speculation at this point, no confirmation from Universal. It's just rumor that I'm hearing that where things are changing and they seem to be lining up in that direction. So I don't know if I would be in favor of it being there versus One Piece, because I think One Piece could be really cool there. Zelda could be really cool there. Lord of the Rings could be really cool there. Pokemon could also be interesting there. I do think that Islands of Adventure does need more for the younger audience in that park. Right now, Islands of Adventure is very much almost like a teen-driven, teen-oriented park. A lot of obviously Wizarding World of Harry Potter does attract everybody, but there's a lot of like hardcore roller coasters or more intense attractions at Islands of Adventure, a lot of outdoor attractions. And so it feels like it skews a little bit older than maybe Universal Studios, or obviously older than the Disney parks. So it could be an interesting play to bring something more universally accepted, and especially among younger kids, into Islands of Adventure to make it more of a family-based park. So that's it. It could be that, it could be something else. It's all subject to change. Again, I'm just speculating on things that I'm hearing and learning about. Once again, I expect more permits to be emerging soon to give us a little bit more indicator on what else is happening in that space. Be sure to keep tuned to this channel for more information. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you're hearing anything different. And of course, until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.